Baptist Church is dedicating a new ultra-modern church auditorium just after recently celebrating 15 years anniversary. Precisely on the 18th of February 2007, a vision to establish a reputable and spirit-filled English-speaking church was birthed along Ring Road, Okeoniti, Osogbo. The vision to establish the church was conceived by a visionary leader, Reverend Dr. Olumide Kehinde, retired. He gives more information about the history of the church.
I remember 1996, after the founding of Glory Baptist Church, we felt that Osogbo town was expanding, and consequently we were contemplating having a purely English-speaking church. And that was what gave birth to Rema Baptist Church. But at the time again, as a person inside me, I was feeling and I was sharing with some of my top church leaders that the vision and the ambition, if there's something like that, of founding the church, especially the way the church was going then, let me say here that inside me, I'm very happy. I'm also that providentially, we also became part of that church now, and everything about the church gladdens one side. So Jubilee Baptist Church, I can tell you that to the glory of God, and I discovered that, of course, one of our traditions in that church, which I think they are still using now, is that when we start a church, we start with a pastor. And specifically for Jubilee Baptist Church, it was, of course, God had been working inside me to the point that I had to share with Pastor Mike Abioye then that this is what God is doing, I hope. And he was very much together with me at that time. And I felt that if he could accept the call of the church to begin pioneer work at Jubilee Baptist Church, it's going to be further a means of enhancement of that vision. And so by the time we started, so that we can get ourselves well started, we asked Papa Ogunwi to be the ministry coordinator.
All glory must be to the Lord for this, for it's worthy to be praised. It is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in my sight that God graciously made me the first ministry coordinator of this church at its inception, 18th February 2007.
And of course, Papa serving as ministry coordinator, we are asking Pastor Mike to come and provide the ministry of the word. And I need to let you know again that Jubilee Baptist Church was started around people that are already involved in church ministry, church planting. The church was coming. I remember we put up a shed. And within months, we have made a wall out of the shelf. And it happened to be the first church that will be air conditioned. And I said, wow, these are already made people, so thank God for them. And since that time, of course, I think a couple of months ago, we celebrated 15th year anniversary. We thank God that the church is moving well, and we are glad.
Similarly, Reverend Dr. Mike Oyabiwe also sheds more light on the church's history.
Well, let me say, the name Jubilee itself, when you hear it, it has something that has to do with 50. It was a church that was founded when Union Baptist Church clocked 50. That is in 2006. That was the time when it was to start really. But it could not start in 2006 for some reasons, logistics. while sorting for land and things like that, to be able to get a space where it will start fully. So it started fully in February 18, 2007 with about 51 members. That day, the Union Baptist Church came that evening to give birth to the church here on this ground where Jubilee Baptist Church is currently located, and that's where it started. I said for some logistics it could not start in 2006. It's October, every October that Union Baptist Church celebrates its own anniversary. It thought to have started within that week of anniversary of Union Baptist Church, and it came up fully in February the next year, and that's why the name Jubilee Baptist Church still remains Jubilee Baptist Church, to mark that 50th anniversary of Union Baptist Church. And it started like that. After a year, for our first anniversary, we completed our first where we were worshiping. That is, in February 17, the building was dedicated. And that same day, we were also inaugurated, or will I say, we were organized as a full-fledged church. And since the church started, the first worship after the inauguration, the first day, February 18, started in February 25 with 51 members in attendance. And the 51 members in attendance have been the one going on and growing, and the church has been growing day by day, week by week, month by month. We have been increasing numerically. The church that started with about 51 members is now about 400, an average of 450 members worship every week, and will I say about 220 children, 230 adults. So these are where we are now. Sometimes the population may increase for more than 500, but let me say an average of 450 now attend the church regularly every Sunday. That's how it is about the, will I say, numerical growth.
The young Jubilee Baptist Church at the start experienced several challenges. However, with the cooperation and commitment of the church members, they were surmounted through the help of God under the leadership of the ministry coordinator, Deacon Jonathan Adegbola Ogunwe.
Challenges are part of human endeavors, but dealing with challenges in church setting will not be a burden if the leader depends and trusts God for resolving the challenges. According to Psalm 32 verse 8, the Bible says, I will instruct you, teach you in the way you will go, I will counsel and watch over you. The challenge of change, leaving a big church, Union Baptist Church, as big as it is, to a small congregation, new association, and new friends at Jubilee. Another challenge is challenge of finance. Many things to do and not much money. But I give kudos to those who start the church together for the way they contributed financially. People gave willingly, readily, and God be the glory. By the second year, 2008, we reckoned with as a strong church among the first 200 churches in the country, and our position then was 189. And thereafter, we had progress. And this last year, our position is now 59. Then the vision casting and sharing challenge, membership drive challenge also. There were many people who were supposed to join us then but didn't join us.
The church, since inception in 2007, also experienced tremendous growth beyond the understanding of men as a result of the strong alliance between the church leadership and its members.
And our growth, while we were using the first auditorium that was given us as a shed, because we started under a shed, and the shed was made to be a full, complete building that was tiled and fully AC. After about 2 years, we had AC in it and air-conditioned church. That was happening, and at a point it could no longer accommodate us. So we had to be to start another building if I will talk about infrastructure. many things have gone on developmentally on this ground. If you look at it from February, that 2007, in 2008 we completed the first building. In 2009 we were able to have a toilet facility and a gatehouse, so as together with the fence that we completed, to be able to carve out our land, and that's what we did. In 2010 we were able to also complete our pastoral, and in 2011 the teenage assembly that hosted a guest room and the office for the pastor temporarily was also completed and dedicated. When we got to 2012, the first month in January, God revealed to us that the building where we are worshiping, where we were worshiping then, won't be able to accommodate us. Well, in fact, when we started the church, where we started at first, we said that one will later become the children assembly. So by July 2012, we had to lay the foundation, where our father, Reverend Olumide Kehinde, and some of the leaders in the church laid the stones for the foundation. And the building that started 10 years ago is now also completed and ready for dedication. Immediately after our own organization, we started being placed on the honor roll, both of the convention and of the conference. We have never missed the honor roll, and we have been improving every year on the honor roll list. And I believe in the nearer future we are going to also be among the 10 first on the honor roll of the convention. I believe that because God is always in action and at work. One of the things that help us is that the people at Jubilee Baptist Church are most cooperative, and when there is a vision that comes, they support it, and without wasting time, things were happening. So that is something again that is worth mentioning. In August 2008, I was fully inducted into the pastorate of Jubilee Baptist Church to take over from Deacon Ogunwi, who has led the church in the administration and other things since the inception till that August when he fully handed over. But we have been working together right from the beginning. That's some of the things. That's why if you look at the name Jubilee Baptist Church, also known as the church that cares, that one came as a vision of what Reverend Olumide Kehinde shared with me, and we came up with that thing, a church that cares. We care about the well-being of everybody, and we care for everybody. So that's why we say we are the church that cares. And everybody who is at Jubilee Baptist Church must also join us in the caring culture of the church. We are a church that is mission-minded. When we started, there is a mission-minded church in Ibadan that also had interest in establishing a church in Osogbo. So when we started it, they also came for their survey. And as they came, they met us on ground, and they were satisfied that if that is, and what are they going to do? They also supported us with money while we were going on with the building of our first auditorium. That is Orita Mefa Baptist Church, through the leadership of Reverend S.M. Lee.
Indeed, the Lord has done great things, so our heart is glad. This is the testimony of the visionary leaders and church members of Jubilee Baptist Church, who have been with the church through thick and thin over the years.
Even since we came to join you too, it's been every day somebody will just come and say, I enjoy the church. And that gladdens our heart. So, and of course, the attendance, the teaching ministry, the caring ministry of the church is what gladdens our heart, because that is what the vision was initially, and we are glad for it. And we thank God for the pastor and his team of workers, both in the diaconate, in the pastorate, and those that are working with him for the growth of the church and the expansion of the church.
As Yoruba we say, I don't know how they say that thing, but I feel elated, because when you start something and you are able to accomplish it, it gives great joy. You know, when it started, at the beginning, when we look at it, some were looking at it, what do you want to do with this giant building you want to put on ground? I said, no, it is not a big thing. It is something God has given. You know, it's a vision that came from God. Even the structure and everything that is in it came by a vision that God said, this is what I want you to put to place.
I thank the Lord because watching what is happening, I felt my own little contribution should even go into oblivion. The pastorate had been well organized. You now have a second pastor. We have a dynamic, forthright, forward-looking, spirit-filled leader of the church, the Reverend Dr. Michael Abioye. That's my personal assessment. To me, it's very wonderful in all ramifications, and he's doing the best. And with the organizational setting, I think God has indeed helped us in this church.
I feel happy when I see this because it is a dream come true. And sometimes when I look back, I say, how many people in this church, how have we been able to achieve this? It is something I cannot understand, but I know that when God says go, He is the one that will back up. When it is God, it is possible. It is only when it is not God that it cannot be possible. But thank God for members of Jubilee Baptist Church who have been cooperating. Because when I come with any vision, I say, this is what God says. They also follow, and at the end of it, we all see that it is indeed God because it comes through. So that is it. I feel happy.
Somebody was glad, I think Apostle John also that said, I had no greater joy than to see that my children are doing well and prospering. So for us, seeing what is happening, it only gladdens our heart that the kingdom of God is expanding, and that people are delighted, people are excited in joining God where He's working. And so that another church is being dedicated, that church auditorium is being dedicated, in missions. That is a preparation for another work. Are you getting me now? Because the moment a church is gotten to a level, they want to say, okay, now that we have come to this level, let's see how we can extend ourselves. Let's see how we can move on. And so it's an occasion to celebrate the faithfulness of God, the goodness of God, as we dedicate an auditorium in preparation for another one.
Glory to the Lord, worship Him, the God of our salvation. Glory to the Lord, honor Him, He reigns, He rules the nations. He is righteous and worthy to be worshipped and adored. Lift your voice.